Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a fantastic weekend and welcome back to Home of Politics. My good people, we all know about the delegation committee of the bipartisan talk, and we are going to critically analyze the Azimio la Umoja's group that is representing the whole team in the bipartisan talk. We know this team is being led by Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, and Kalonzo Musyoka is the best and outstanding leader to lead the bipartisan team. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the secret behind the choosing of Kalonzo Musyoka as the leader who will be foreseeing and heading everything in the bipartisan talk. We see Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is one of the special people in that team because of his political game. Whenever we see Kalonzo Musyoka standing in his debates, in his arguments, this is a man who is fully organized. He is humble. He has a soft speech whereby even if he is criticizing or he is annoyed in one way or another, he is not a person to have that anger taking control of him and speaking anyhowly, throwing words here and there. As he talks, he usually gives respect to his fellow leaders, may it be in government or opposition. And so, according to the way Kalonzo usually expresses himself, he is a soft person. He understands the respect on how he can address himself before the public. He is a soft-spoken man, and therefore, being a leader in this bipartisan talk, his character of being polite and good speech is the best character that is required, because if everything is in control with the leader who is composed and he is knowing what he should do, then it means things are good. And that one is the first reason. Another good reason is about the diplomacy of Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is a recommended leader who have been in the government previous regimes, and he has worked also with the other nations from outside Kenya, and his work is highly recommended. We can see his diplomacy work starts from even the regime of the former president Daniel Moi, and in his offices that he was being placed, he has been acting in a very, very excellent way, and above that, experience from his diplomatic works is what has guaranteed him a direct ticket as the leader of the bipartisan talk. How? This one, he has been in representation of Kenya in outside nations. For instance, he has been the Minister of Foreign Affairs twice, and in this docket, he has been visiting different countries. He has been representing Kenya in the best knowledge that he could, and therefore in his experience gained from this foreign affairs and other leadership, it is the reason that is making him to qualify this chance. He has been the KANU's General Secretary. You see, this is a docket that he was leading a whole party, and it gave him further experience on how he can relate with his fellows. He also became the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, and we see the Deputy Speaker can act in place of a Speaker, and that means he was able to control the whole Parliament whenever the Speaker has delegated the role to him whenever he was away. And this is a leader who did his work perfectly. We also see he has been under the Ministry of Education for some years back. He has been a Minister of Home Affairs also, which means he has been conducting the affairs, local affairs, and these affairs have been going successfully. We see Kalonzo Musyoka has also been the Minister of Environment, and his work is very commendable because everywhere where he was being put as a leader, he has been leaving the marks that are even evident up to date. We see he is a leader who once vied for presidential candidate seat, and according to his manifesto, his qualities and the ambitions that he had for Kenya as a country, he is really qualifying to be a high qualified leader because according to how he had planned himself, this was a good person, and applying all those qualifications to lead a bipartisan talk, then it finds him the best team leader. We also see the experience that he has gained in foreign affairs. That is, he has been engaging several nations, connecting Kenya to other nations, trying to bring in good ideas. He has been also chairing some of the committees that has been successful for the benefit of Kenya. And with all this experience that Kalonzo Musyoka has, then he is the best team leader of Azimio la Umoja. Another reason as to why he was picked as the best team leader, it is about the peacekeeping missions and mediation. How Kalonzo Musyoka have been a person who have initiated several peace and mediation activities. For instance, back in the years, he went to mediate on the peacekeeping mission. That one is in Sudan. He also went to Somalia and South Sudan of late. But in these nations, the talks were successful, the mediation was successful, and the country which he went for mediation, and they did not listen to his advice, then things fall apart. For example, the mediation procedure which he attended in Sudan, he gave them the advice, he tried his level best to bring these leaders in Sudan together, and when they deviated from his advice, the result was the country split and it became two, Sudan and South Sudan, and that is the conflict that is again continuing up to now because these two countries are not in good terms. And this shows that this leader is the leader who had seen the future of these nations. And with those qualifications of going outside Kenya, bringing in mediation, at least putting that effort to bring peace, a long-lasting solution to a country, then it means bipartisan talk is just but something that he can handle it, he is capable of handling it. And when we look also another bipartisan member, this one from Azimio la Umoja still, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, we see Azimio la Umoja team has got these people who have good qualification. For example, one qualification of Eugene Wamalwa, it is his knowledge. This is a leader. In whichever situation, he dispenses knowledge with order, because this leader, whenever he is even in the meeting of maybe they are political parties, Azimio rallies, some leaders can be throwing words anyhow, but this leader is also soft-spoken man. He is a leader who acknowledges other leaders and he addresses them with respect. Despite that, he has been acting in different offices in the previous regimes. He acted as the cabinet secretary of defense. For instance, those days they were called the minister. So he was a minister of defense in Kenya. He was also serving as a minister of justice, and in these offices he acted actively, and in these dockets he left there a commendable work. And with the experience that he have gained in these whole working years, and in his own character as Eugene Wamalwa, he is the best person to represent Azimio la Umoja in this bipartisan talk. Ladies and gentlemen, What about the other side of Kenya Kwanza government? We see the team from Kenya Kwanza side, we have the likes of Kimani Ichung'wah and Senator Cherargei. These are the people whom we look and they do not even merge. Even in one instance, they do not merge with the leaders of the bipartisan talk from the Azimio la Umoja side, because basing on Cherargei, we see he got nothing to do with the experience maybe in peacekeeping, nothing to do with diplomacy, nothing to do with, like, he is the opposite of what Kalonzo, Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa are. And according to how they have been categorized, then we see they did not base on the major grounds whenever they were choosing these leaders who could represent them in the bipartisan talk. What about Kimani Ichung'wah? Kimani Ichung'wah is a person who have been known because of his mouth, his words, because whenever he talks, this is the person who can argue until they win the talk. And therefore, basing on the team from the Kenya Kwanza side, then it means these people were not chosen because of their experience. These people were not chosen because of what they had done in the previous offices. For instance, if we look at Kimani Ichung'wah, he has no another experience like being a cabinet secretary, being an MP, being like those other past experiences. It's not even evident in this committee, and therefore there are some other factors that were based before actually placing these people in the committee. The likes of Senator Cherargei, he is also the same like Kimani Ichung'wah, and these people, whenever you go with them in an argument, in fact they will emerge the winners. But comparing the effort that these people are putting together to argue with the Azimio team, then we see their levels are very different. It is either because these people who are soft-spoken like Kalonzo, Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa were being put together in the same table with these mouthy people like Cherargei and Kimani Ichung'wah, so that they can take the advantage of their silence, their politeness and humility to win these talks. Ladies and gentlemen, these talks have been scheduled. Yes, they are going on, but the impact of the bipartisan talk, maybe they cannot be brought out as the way they were expected. Why? People like Kalonzo Musyoka from the other side, these are the people who have experience. They approach this issue of bipartisan talk with a lot of seriousness because they know how to solve a problem, how to resolve a dispute and to bring peace, because he has handled so many instances whereby it have become successful. You are bringing the same people in the same table, but comparing their skills, their way of argument, their character, these people do not match. I don't know how this thing will end up, because comparing these two sides, their level of argument is what will bring a result at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a possibility that according to the experience and the skills and the way the Azimio la Umoja team are fully organized and composed to deal with the Kenya Kwanza team, it can be very, very different according to so many perspectives, just as I have analyzed in the level of experience, personal characteristics, and so many other dockets that these people have been serving in the previous years. What about when we see this, the Kenya Kwanza team, we see them as not serious because maybe the president chose these people due to their healthful competition in talking, but it may never bring the expected results of the bipartisan talk. These people can bring a very tough competition in arguments, but the aim of sitting down with these delegates from Azimio la Umoja, that will lose a meaning completely. And we have been seeing the talks that have been happening in the previous years. For example, we see the talks that happened and the mediation that happened in the 2008, we had even a mediator from outside country, and the results of that thing, it ended up with the sharing of power called Nusumukate. We also see the previous one, it did not involve any mediator, but the former President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga decided to go and have their talk as two leaders of these two groups, and they agreed and they moved on with the handshake. And now this one, they have not also brought any other mediator from outside. They had suggested about the former Nigerian President Honorable Obasanjo, but it was turned down because they saw it better that these people from our nation sit down, solve their problem faster before involving an outsider. So this one also do not have any mediator, but these two groups have decided to form their own two teams so that they can come to an agreement. But what might be the result of this talking? There is no mediator, and the condition here is tough because both sides are not interested in merging and joining another team, because the opposition side are saying no handshake, the government side is also saying no handshake, yet they are coming together on the same table and to talk. Ladies and gentlemen, this bipartisan talk might be something to act as a blackmail to Kenyans, but behind the scenes, maybe these two leaders are having hidden agenda. Maybe they just want to play with their own tricks to see that things are going on as the way the public is expecting, but behind the scenes, these two leaders might have their own personal interests, or they have similar ideologies. How? The same way the former president sneaked into a room with Raila Amolo Odinga and finished their things and became one through handshake. This one can happen in this government too, but with another method, because there are always several solutions to a similar problem. My good people, this bipartisan talk might be a waste of time to blackmail us, and also it cannot even bring the expected results as the way people are having that hope. And seeing the difference between these two sides of the teams, we see this bipartisan talk is something that is not serious. It's not treated with a lot of seriousness, because comparing the experience of this other team with this other expert of arguments, then we see a problem is being seen from somewhere. But my good question is, why did Raila Amolo Odinga decided to choose Kalonzo Musyoka over other Azimio la Umoja leaders? In Azimio la Umoja, in fact, we have so talented, learned, and experienced leaders like James Orengo. He's a lawyer. He has been representing Azimio in so many cases. And we see it's not James Orengo alone. There are so many suitable leaders in Azimio la Umoja who could even sit, who were expected even to sit in this bipartisan talk, but they were eliminated. Why not even Martha Karua, who is moving with Raila Amolo Odinga everywhere? Within an inch, you do not miss out Martha Karua around Raila Amolo Odinga. Why didn't he pick on Martha Karua? Why only Kalonzo Musyoka? Do you think this one is an expression of succession? Maybe in future, whenever Raila Amolo Odinga retires from politics, maybe Kalonzo Musyoka can take over his throne. And do you think Raila Amolo Odinga is trying to express Kalonzo Musyoka as the best leader in the whole Azimio la Umoja coalition? My good people, now that everything has got its season, then we see the way Raila Amolo Odinga is valuing Kalonzo Musyoka over other leaders. We see then there is something that is being communicated. What do you think about this? Thank you so much for watching my video. That one is according to my own analysis, and thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.